Hi everybody, let's talk about the poles for my little traction layout. So this is what I had to modify. Basically, it came out a lot farther out this way, and I think he meant it for either N, HO scale, both. I can't keep it in focus with me holding it. So I had to cut the 3 wires and resolder everything and recenter the hanger. So you can see behind me I've got my little steeple cap locomotive there. So for most traction modelers, what they say the hardest thing to do, what I've heard, is to keep the wire in the center of the rails. It's like the Iowa Traction Company, they use what's called a trolley pole. It's just one point of contact for the with the wire overhead, and basically they've got a pole in each locomotive, each end of the locomotive. And when they want to switch directions, they have to lower one pole because they always want the pole be trailing behind them, because the wires actually have a frog on the wires too. So when the locomotive starts to go through a turnout, go around the curve, go around the curve, the trolley pole follows, hopefully, catches the frog and follows on the wire it's supposed to be on. Now the little Kato locomotive has a what's called I knew I'd forget this as soon as I started talking. Pantograph. So pantographs are generally for higher voltage, because for the trolley wires they're about 600 volts. You can imagine if you put the higher voltage you have with only one point of contact, get a lot of sparking, everything, probably lose a lot of energy. This has a pantograph which goes up and down. Excellent little model. This thing is like 30 bucks. It's hard to believe. It's a Kato. So you have more points of contact, and it's probably not as critical that the wires stay in the center of the rail, although still, you have to take that into consideration. So you'll see on anytime the traction locomotive goes around a curve, they've got a lot of extra poles, extra supports to keep that wire in the center of the rail as close as they can. Luckily, I don't have any curves really on this, but I have some turnouts on here. So something I had to consider, when I put these in place, I had to consider that this hanger is over the center of the pantograph. Now for the single poles, I could just, move them in and out. But that's not very realistic. You don't want to see your, wire weaving around or your pole line running around. So I've tried to make them, each individual pole I've adjusted for where it should go. So the challenge is going to be, because this is in foam here, and it's built on a hollow core door, keeping these things solid, because they can just move around all over the place. And when I put the wire on there, the wire may pull it this way, may pull it that way, whatever. So I've come up with an idea to fix that. I have some steel rod, this, and just coincidentally, it will fit on it will fit in the bottom of this. So I'm going to cut the steel rod off, embed it down into the wood all the way, and then hopefully they'll be pretty solid. So let me do one and show you what it looks like. I did this first one. It was one that wouldn't stand up at all in the foam. It set it a little bit because I didn't want it right on the edge where I could bump it. Hopefully I won't have to move this thing a whole lot. It is pretty sturdy now. And I can take this off if I want to. Actually, I'm not going to do it right now. I am going to have to take them off though, because sort of goofed up. I painted all these single poles before I realized that the double poles weren't going to work, because this was the I couldn't get the hangers over the tracks. They looked really funny. So I modified all the poles, and I had to clean the paint off of this so I could resolder everything. So I'm going to take them out and repaint them. I don't have to paint the pole part, but I'm going to mask that off, prime it, and then paint that black again. So I am going to have to take them off. So I might as well just go ahead and show you how it is. So that post is still down in there, and it's pretty solid. I'm hoping that's all I have to do. Problem. So I'm going to keep working on it, and then I'll show you what a friend of mine does for the wire. Just above the locomotive, you see the hook that extends down from this bottom brace. I've got a little circle of which the wire runs through. That is actually a piece of G-scale chain. Since I'm in G-scale, I've got some logging cars. I had some extra chain. So that's one link of the chain. So I took that and I hooked every one, one link on each one of those hangers, and I super glued it in place because I didn't want it, just be able to move. At first I thought, well, I'll just have them on there, but then I was trying to thread the wire through, and I was knocking them off, and it was impossible. So I super glued them in place, and that keeps the line above the center of the track. What I'm going to have to worry about is, again, these poles, because it's foam, if I push them down too far, the pantograph is going to hit that. Sort of do a drone shot here, so it's hard to see the wire at times. But you see, even on this little curve, it's hard to keep the wire in the center of everything. So I come down here, wire's going to split. This is a K&S Metals. It's 0.020 music wire. That's what my friend recommended to use. Split again to go to the turnout on the for the bakery. Now right here, I could probably use another double pole. And again, it's hard to tell. It's hard to get the camera exactly over it, but it is definitely pulling to the inside of this curve here. So I could probably use another double pole between these two on the curve. And then at the very end, another double pole just to hold it into place like that. Down here, this is the team track. Not intending to run it all the way to the end, because that way if they've got something they have to unload, with a crane, they could do that. So my thinking is I could have a couple old flat cars, which would be like buffer cars. So if they need to push a car down here, they'd get the flat cars to spot the car down here and then to take it away. And that's sort of a common thing to use. Like even if you had a scrap yard or something, anything you have to load into, top of a car, you don't want the overhead wire over it. So what I'm going to do, this wire is just temporarily in place. I haven't soldered it in or glued it in or anything. I'm going to take the layout inside, and I'm going to put all the stuff back on it, and then we'll run a little train. So let's do a little impromptu switching session here, just for about 5 minutes. So we're going to deliver the Milwaukee Road reefer to the team track, and we're going to swap the covered hopper into the bakery and pull the box car that's there. So as usual, I've edited out my uncoupling, and to be honest, there's a few stalls in here, and a lot of those are my own fault, because since I have powered the frogs, the locomotive, if it approaches the switch and the frog is it's the wrong way, it will just stop until I flip the switch. Little locomotive doesn't like to creep. Basically, I've got the speed step on 128, and I just go like 10, 20, 30, 40. It's usually running on 30 or 40. So now we need to run around the covered hopper. Barely enough clearance between the front of that truck when we go down that spur, but it does clear. This turnout gave me a little bit of trouble. I think it's because my throw bar is not exact. Because when you throw the Pico switches with the, they've got the spring in them. I mean, they go 100% all the time. I think the throw bar was holding the rail out from where it needed to be. So one time the locomotive picked it. So I might need to tweak that a little bit. I added the music because with no locomotive sound, it's pretty obvious me moving around the room and banging stuff. You know, you can hear stuff in the background, so I just added the background music. So we're going to pull the Grand Trunk boxcar. Come back out, put it on the main line. So now we're going to spot the covered hopper. Of course, it's not going to go all the way next to the dock. It's going to stay out here. I need to simulate some way to dump the hoppers in the middle of the track, like an unloading thing, to get into the silos. So now we're just going to pull the boxcar and head back into staging. Now the pantograph does not touch the wires. Obviously the thing that the little loop that the wires are hanging on, it would catch the pantograph. I don't know how the real railroads do it, but this is sort of the way a lot of traction modelers do it anyhow. So it's just as close to it as I could get without hitting. So here we go off into the little staging yard. And I'll end the video with a little bit of reflection about the wires anyhow. Well, by no means am I done with this project yet. I still have to do all the ground cover, gravel lot, concrete, whatever I decide to do around the team track, and have to build the old mill and finish that section. But I thought I'd give you a little bit of reflection on the wiring part of it. Number one, it's really cool. I mean, it really looks good. Took a lot of effort to do it, but it really looks cool. In N scale especially, because our trains go up and down in size depending on the scale, but our hands are full scale. It is really hard to get in here to clean the track, or if you have to re-rail a car or something. There's not much clearance here. I had a heck of a time cleaning the track because of what I've been doing on the scenery work and everything. I thought I'd better clean the track, especially with that little four-wheel locomotive, and it was tough to get in there to do it. Again, HO scale, these things would be twice as high. They'd be twice as far away. So it'd be easier to do, I think, in the larger scales. I've had a lot of fun with this. I don't think I'm going to become a traction modeler, so to speak, but I'm definitely glad I did it, and I'm definitely going to finish the module. If you have any questions about the wire, don't know if I can answer them or not, but I've got some friends who can answer them, and I'll get the information to you. Or anything else about the switching module, let me know. But till then, I will see you Saturday with an operations video. We're going to be switching some industries around Douglas Avenue. Everybody stay safe.